have me do. I'll do the best that I can do and offer all I do to you with all my heart, with all my heart. You give me songs my heart can sing, with light and grace each day you bring, and walk with me through everything this life does impart, this life does impart. I'm really just a flute you play. You give me all the words to say, and guide me through each night and day of time's endless rounds, of time's endless rounds. Oh, you have stolen my heart, fill up each and every part with your love, with your name you do impart your songs, endless sounds, your songs, endless sounds. Whatever you would have me do, I'll do the best that I can do and offer all I do to you with all my heart, with all my heart, with all my heart. Om Bhadram Karne Vishrunuyaama Devaha Bhadram Pashye Makshabhirya Chatraha Sthireirangai Tushtubhagum Sastanubihi Vyashema Devahi Tanyadayuhu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, O gods, may we hear with our ears what is auspicious. O ye adorable ones, may we see with our eyes what is auspicious. May we sing praises to ye and enjoy with strong limbs and body the life allotted to us by the gods. Om, peace, peace, peace. Love seeks one thing only, the good of the one loved. It leaves all the other secondary effects to take care of themselves. Love, therefore, is its own reward. Thomas Merton. Good morning, everyone. Happy to be here. Yeah, good to see you, some of you. I've seen you. Friendly faces. Our topic today, are you ready to listen about morality? I know. You must be thinking, what is this Swami doing, trying to teach us a new morality? We are kind of tired of that. But yes, the topic today is the moral law. And, well, this is not new. It's very ancient. It's not a new type of morality, some set of rules that we have to follow. We have enough of that. This is an appeal to come back to ourselves and listen to something that we know very well. The so-called moral law, universal law. Sometimes we use the word dharma to define that
it's known to us. And this is very important. It is something very important for us to understand because when it comes to laws, there is not much we can do about it, right? When there is a law, it's a law. We can't be outlaws, yet we have enough of experience being outlaws when it comes to the moral law. So today we'll try to understand this law and the consequences of not following it. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, we find he, capital, specifically projected that excellent form, righteousness. Now, here the word Upanishad uses form, and it's called righteousness or dharma. He specifically projected that excellent form. This righteousness is the controller of the strong. Therefore, there is nothing higher than that. Even a weak man hopes to defeat a stronger man as over a king through righteousness. That righteousness, the Upanishad says, is verily truth. Therefore, they say about a person speaking the truth, he speaks of righteousness. Or about the person speaking of righteousness, he speaks of truth. For both these are but righteousness. This righteousness, dharma, is like honey to all beings, and all beings are like honey to righteousness. This is coming from the end of the Vedas, my friends. These are revelations given to the so-called rishis, seers of the truth. Now, they're talking about the form of righteousness, dharma. The same, or so with the shining, it says, so with the shining, the immortal being who is in this righteousness. So there is this righteousness, and there is a being alive inside this righteousness. And the shining, immortal being identified with righteousness in the body, which means righteousness in every one of you, us. These are but the self, the capital self. This self, this knowledge, is the means to immortality. This knowledge of what? Of dharma, of righteousness. The immortal being within, is the means to immortality. This righteousness, this dharma, is Brahman. You know what Brahman is, right? The ultimate reality. The Atman is that we call, in English, God, the Lord, the self, capital self. This knowledge of Dharma, Brahman, is the means to becoming all, like a wave merging in the ocean. Like a wave merging in the ocean. Nothing is higher than Dharma. Sweet, huh? Let's talk about this. Let's try to digest these concepts. The concept of the moral law refers to an absolute principle that somehow defines a criteria for what is good and what is bad. It's an absolute principle that somehow defines a criteria for what is good or what is bad based on our actions. Defining the principle of God, sometimes we define him as the one governing the laws of nature. Who is God? We don't know. There are laws out there, can help them, but there must be somebody governing these laws. The one who keeps these laws in harmony, the perfect balance, the perfect order. That we call God. And that order is called righteousness, because order is what is right. And what is right is this universal law. What is right is universal, because there is a law behind. We all have a set of values. We do. Close your eyes and ask yourself, who am I? I'm not asking the ultimate Vedantic question. When it comes to who am I, you say, well, you know, I'm so-and-so, right? But what truly defines what you think you are? Your personality. Your personality is also defined by your set of values. Oh, I like this, I don't like that. I like to do good, you know. Feels better this way. I don't like to hurt others. We have a set of values that defines our personality, that defines who we are. Everybody chooses a mold structure of values. Sometimes we, compromise our set of values. Oops, my bad, mistakes, right? Swami Dhyanayogananda says, it is a sin to believe we are sinners. They're just mistakes. How do we know? Because we feel when we do something wrong. We know. We know very well. We just want to justify our deeds or actions, thoughts, words, but we know very well. These values are exercised by the human choice. We have a choice. It is this free will that allows us to choose. The free will that allows us to choose, that demands some kind of control, don't you think? Otherwise, what do? We just don't care. We are so selfish, naturally selfish. We want everything for ourselves. And for all those who we love, and we identify as our own. The rest, right? Everybody chooses a mold, a structure of values. These values are exercised by the human choice. It is this free will that allows us to choose, that demands some kind of control. A human being is given a free will, but at the same time, what is not given to us is a basis of control. How to control this freedom? At least, we don't want to see it. Where there is freedom, there is the possibility for abuse. Abuse becomes obvious. It is obvious to our own conscience within. We do carry a sensor that helps us understand what is right and what is wrong. One knows. We know this is wrong. This just doesn't feel right. There is a self-control system. We all have it. Some of us choose not to pay attention to it, not to exercise this system, self-control system. Some of us choose to exercise this system to some extent. But it's fully exercised by the most mature and evolved human beings who become examples to all of us. This self-control system works as a mold, a structure, a matrix, the matrix for our values. The simple definition for value is this: what I expect of others or expected of me by others is clearly known to everyone. What I expect of others or expected of me by others, we all know it. That's why it is universal. Just like we all have this faculty to know an object through our senses. How do you know an object? Well, you have the means, right? You have your senses, you can touch it, you can see it, but there must be something out there that needs to be objectified. Carries a form, carries a name, carries a meaning. The faculty to know is naturally implanted in all of us. It comes with us. It's given to us as human beings. In order to know something, the known has to become an object. To know Dharma, to know righteousness, to know this moral law we call Dharma, Dharma must be an object as well. It must be an object of our knowledge. Remember the beginning? This form of righteousness. You may say, well, Swami, I'm sorry, but I don't see righteousness. I don't see it. Really? We all commonly sense this so-called righteousness or Dharma. We sense it. Therefore, it exists. Nobody sees it, but it exists. We all have this faculty to know this law. How do you know gravitation? It's a law. Do you see gravitation? Yes, it's there. We all know it. All the birds know it. Or electricity. We know it's present. All these laws, we can see them physically, but we know they're real. They exist. Nobody can miss the presence of gravitation. We sense it because it is there. We sense it. The force of gravitation is a manifestation of this absolute reality. Somebody must be responsible for these laws. It's a law. And we can't do anything about it. It's not possible to avoid the law of gravitation. Where is the law coming from? Who is responsible for it? These are questions that we usually don't ask ourselves. We take all this for granted. In Sanskrit, that absolute reality, we call it Ishvara. In English, the Lord. But we don't see it, but we sense it. Just like we sense the law of gravity, just like we sense the law of Dharma, the law of morality, the same way we know when something is right and when something is wrong. Like an object of knowledge, we can sense Dharma. And that Dharma is a manifestation of that absolute reality we call in Sanskrit Ishvara. It is present. There is a sense of Dharma universally followed by all. There is this sense of Dharma universally followed by all because it's a law. The fact that even though we don't see it and we know it, it exists, is a manifestation of that grand law of Ishvara, the King of Kings, the Self, what we call God. Back to the verse from the Upanishads. This shining, this immortal being who is in this righteousness, we have to pay attention here. We sense righteousness, and there is an immortal being present in that righteousness. The shining, the immortal being identified with righteousness in the body. This righteousness, this Dharma, is Brahman. What do you get out of this? It's very subtle. We know Dharma. We can sense Dharma. And there is the shining one there present. The Upanishad says that Dharma is Brahman, which means we are face to face with God all the time. In other words, Dharma is God. And for God's sake, we can't do adharma or the opposite, because Dharma is God. If you want God, follow what is right. Do what is right. Say what is right. To go against Dharma is going against God. To know Dharma is to know Ishvara. To know Dharma is to know God. It's not too far away from our experience. Again, these values are exercised by our human choice. It is this free will that allows us to choose. But what is the extent of this free will? Human beings have a free will, but at the same time, we are not given the basis of control to control that freedom. That free will demands some kind of control, otherwise, we do what we want. At the same time, we have to pay the price of it. It is necessary for human beings to acknowledge and exercise this self-controlling system we call Dharma as the only means to control our freedom. Your freedom ends when somebody else's freedom starts. It is something that is present in every self-conscious being. It's present in every self-conscious being. What are you? Are you conscious? You are aware of yourself, aren't you? Can't deny that. You are aware of your existence. You're a conscious being. Dharma is within you. This self-controlling system is with you all the time. God gave us the freedom to choose. And what is right can only be expressed in freedom Therefore, Dharma works as some kind of orderliness inherent in the universe and within all of us. A lot of responsibility, huh? Back to the verse from the Upanishads. This knowledge is the means to immortality. Underlying unity, this righteousness, this dharma is Brahman. This knowledge of Brahman is the means to becoming all. Dharma is the ethical and moral framework rooted in the cosmic order. It is essential for purifying our mind. It is essential to know ourselves and ultimately attain the ultimate goal of life. In Sanskrit, we call it moksha, for those who enjoy these terms. Liberation. Liberation of what? Of not knowing who we are. The feeling of being lost. The feeling of wanting all the time. Non-stop. Even though you have everything, you keep wanting. And if somebody asks you, what do you want? Your answer is, I don't know. I don't know what I want. But I want something. Liberation of that, from that. Practicing Dharma becomes a means to this unity. Therefore, the role of Dharma is indispensable in the pursuit of Vedanta, self-knowledge. Dharma is a prerequisite before we can practice, the well-known self-inquiry practice. Who am I? Who am I? You know that, right? Many saints, they talk about this self-inquiry. Dharma is the fundamental spiritual practice. The fundamental spiritual practice. You want to be spiritual? Sometimes when we are introduced to the spiritual life, it is through a religion. And we have to follow this religion. You want to be spiritual? Just follow Dharma. Dharma is the fundamental spiritual practice. Dharma is the foundation for spiritual growth, ethical conduct, and a harmonious living, ultimately leading to the realization of what we call Brahman. Realization means for Brahman to become real to you. When you have that knowledge, when you merge, you don't want anything else. You are fulfilled. Para Brahman swato dharmanishtam. This is Sanskrit. And this is to tell you, in our scriptures, in the Vedas are broadly classified into two parts. The first part is called Veda Purva, and the last part is called Veda Anta. Anta means the end. Vedanta, you know that word. Veda Purva, first. Veda Anta, the end. Veda Purva is called Dharma. Veda Anta is called Brahman, means Brahman. So if we want Brahman, we have to start first thing first. First, Dharma. One can never ignore any one of them or try to assimilate or understand or internalize the other. To understand Brahman or Brahma Vidya thoroughly, one has to be an embodiment of Dharma. We start with Dharma, we end up in Brahman, in God. At the absolute level, there is a Brahman, the absolute reality. At the empirical level, our reality, there is this order there is this order in duality, this moral law in all of us, inbuilt in all of us. The moral law, the moral order, or harmony in the dualistic empirical world is called Dharma. We're repeating Swami again and again. Yes, this needs to be repeated so that we can assimilate it. A mature conscious being is one who is all the time aware of this orderliness in the world and in harmony, in perfect harmony. Assimilating the orderliness in the world, he naturally follows, conforms to this order. The awareness of the universal harmony, the awareness of this moral law in perfect harmony, leading a life in keeping with this perfect harmony is called Dharma. When one is what we call in Sanskrit dharmanishta, or a devotee, devotion or faith, steadfastness to Dharma, the response to every situation in your life will be nothing but value. Your contribution to the society will be nothing but value. You will become an example of Dharma. Once a person understands the importance of this universal harmony, he or she, his or her life, will be a life of contribution and joy. Dharma is order. Dharma is the moral law. Dharma is the Lord. Dharma is the means and the end. A mature person is aware of this order and keeps a relationship with the Lord, just as we are encouraged. What do we do, Swami? Well, just get hold of it. An image of God, maybe Jesus if you want, get hold of his name, repeat his name, like a mantra. And his name carries meaning. His image carries meaning. And you connect with the meaning. You connect with the Lord. And you feel it. We all experience that. I was never very religious, but I was fortunate. Now I see that, how fortunate I was to be raised in the Catholic Church, and I went to a Catholic school. And every day, it was so boring. We had to go before the first period and pray in the chapel. But you know, when you're a kid, you just pray, okay, fine, and then you start praying. I was like, I like it. It's sweet. No? You keep praying and repeating these formulas, right? In the beginning, it's all about Jesus, and then Jesus, help me. But, you know, when you're a kid, you just do and you don't think too much. And as an adult, now I remember, it felt good. Because we connect with something that is in all of us and is universal, regardless of its name. No boundaries here. You can call it Jesus, Shiva, Durga, it doesn't matter. But the meaning must be present. A mature person is aware of this order and therefore keeps a relationship with the Lord. Be clear. To help us stay connected as a source of inspiration. That's why the concept, the principle of God, the idea of God is so important in our lives. Understanding this self-control system, values become natural. A value deserves proper value. We will value the ultimate value only if our mind is in harmony with this cosmic order. Therefore, we have to help ourselves. We have to stay inspired all the time. All the time, we are invited to keep a relationship with the Lord. I know people will think that we are crazy. Who cares? People are crazy for money, for desires, pleasures. Why not be crazy for something that is worth it? Now, the concept of moral law refers to an absolute principle, as I said before, that somehow defines a criteria for what is good and what is bad, based on what? On our actions. Now we define actions in Sanskrit as karma. Did you know that? See, karma, what you know by karma is, yes, the law, Swami. Karma will follow you, right? That's what the internet says. And it's true. Karma follows you. You can't get away. Karma is translated as action, and also it means the result of our actions. It's called the phalam, the fruit of our actions. That fruit of our actions, many times is seen. You work for something hard and you get the rewards, right? You see them. But many times, you can't see the fruit of your actions. It's invisible to our eyes. Yet, it's real. It's called the adrishta. Drishta is what is seen. Adrishta is what is not seen. A human being is capable of producing these unseen results. We do it all the time, even when we pray. Where there is free will, there is this possibility of producing these unseen, invisible results. And these invisible results can be good for our growth, spiritual, or not so good. You can lift that up, or push us down. Can go against us. Goodness and badness, if you like to call it. The goodness in Sanskrit is called punyam. The opposite is called papam. What is wrong, Swami? Is it a sin? No, it's not a sin. It's just a mistake. Wrong way. Go north. Right? When I reach out to help helping others is dharma. There is a good result. There is an invisible punyam. When I do things that I don't want others to do to me, it's called the opposite. Papam. The wrong. People call it your karma. Because karma seems to be bad, right? That bad karma. When you do things to others and you don't want others to do to you. As simple as that. That's the basic definition of dharma. Doing to others what I like others to do to me. If you want to be loved, love. Abuse of this free will is going against dharma, meaning the wrong, what we call the wrong action. And that is called adharma. The use of the free will when going with dharma is the right action. On one side, we have karma, the side of karma. On the other side, we have dharma. On one hand, we have the side of bad karma. On the other side, we have adharma. So, karma and dharma are connected with one another. Is it clear? Righteousness expresses itself through our actions, thoughts and deeds, words and deeds. Right? So when you are tuning with the universal law is called dharma. When you are not, you are basically going against yourself. You are basically hurting yourself. Dharma and adharma themselves are the only order. Based on that order alone, we call it karma. The law of karma, with the other side, the law of dharma, conformity to dharma is good karma. Clear? So what do we have to do? Just do what is right. How do I know? You know what is right. You will feel it within you. We have this self-controlled system in all of us. In ignorance, an ignorant man, you may think that, oh, I'm strong. I can get away with whatever I want and make those who follow Dharma fools. Idiots, they don't know. It's just, the usual thing we find in society. Well, by doing that, they don't know that they are making a fool of themselves. The law of dharma converts itself into the law of karma. The law of karma is the other side of the coin of the law of dharma. If there is no law of dharma, there is no law of karma. If there is no law of dharma, if there is a law of dharma, there must be a law of karma. Why do you keep repeating this, Swami? Because dharma expresses itself through your actions, my friends. First in your thoughts, your words, and your deeds. And that's the ultimate spiritual practice. So we first start tuning up. We better start tuning up with that inner controlling system, so that we can enjoy life at least, with its good and its bad. Dharma is a practical guide for living a meaningful and fulfilling life. Dharma is the matrix, the mold of norms. Dharma is a matrix of norms that forms the basis for one's own interaction with the world. Everything is so perfect, isn't it? Even our own so-called freedom, it is controlled. In our own freedom, how beautiful that freedom is the basis of everything. And we are so perfectly designed to know that. And when you know that, you know God. Since I am a self-conscious being, all of us, with the freedom to choose, I need to have this mold, matrix of norms. In navigating, what happens? In navigating the fulfillment of our desires, expressed through our actions, we know we can go wrong. Most of the time we do. We go against ourselves. These are the values which are common to all, to you, to me, and to everybody. What if people, Swami, don't want to follow this order? Well, I suggest you stay away from that. You don't want to be there. Not to follow Dharma is self-destructive. Not honoring Dharma is going against yourselves. The pressure that we all have when we fall in love with some sense object or with some human being, and I need that to be mine. that pressure. Oh, I want it, right? The pressure to fulfill a selfish desire makes a person go against this dharma. And that's where we need to be careful. I want so bad. It makes you go against the moral law. When I go against dharma, you steal something, you hurt somebody, cheat somebody, so that you can fulfill your desire. Any person doing that is nothing but an indicative that that person needs to literally grow up, needs to mature. What do? We judge these people. We've been there. We have to grow up. We have to help others by our example. He or she is still in the process of growing. This is why we shouldn't wait to sometimes, Swami, when I retire, I will have time to think about these things. No, don't wait. This is the right time. It's never too late, though. But the sooner or later you start honoring this law, the better for you. There is something very interesting about following this law. One gets the feeling of being good, feeling good with oneself. When you do what is right, you feel good, elated. There is self-esteem, there is self-law, there is a strength. You sacrifice your selfishness for what is right, and you feel strong. You give value to yourself. One knows you are doing what is right, and that itself is very fulfilling. We always judge our actions in terms of success and failures. If we understand that self-esteem, the self-esteem we gain by practicing Dharma, that Dharma will give us a sense of well-being, the sense of success. In this country, nobody wants to be a loser, right? We all want to be successful. This is the way. Therefore, the whole growth lies in my understanding and in my abiding by the law. And then grow in that understanding and in that attitude, the perfect attitude, the right attitude, which is essential. Once we understand, it's not about me, but about all of us, we learn to carry our lives with the right attitude. You self-control yourself. You know that you have to connect with the ultimate reality through any means that represents that principle of God. All the time. Not just in the morning or in the afternoon, evening. God's manifestation in my conformity to Dharma gives me a sense of success. Whenever we do what is to be done, we feel good. Whenever we do what is not to be done, we feel guilty. And we fall into a loop, You don't want to see that. And because you don't want to see it, you keep cheating yourself. Oh, no, I'm fine. You are having a fake relationship with yourself. Who wants to be selfish? Fake with oneself, right? We have to establish ourselves in Dharma. Let Dharma be enshrined in our hearts. Dharma as a human aspiration, the means to the goal, and the goal itself. Every human being should have that commitment, whether he or she can see the whole picture or not. We all have to have this commitment. We have the freedom to choose. I only have 10 minutes. I have to wrap it up. So in our lives, we have different goals. I don't know if you ever heard about Purusharthas. It's a bit, I don't want to talk about that. It's the basics of Vedanta. But it is true. The Purusharthas are the different goals we experience in life. But first thing first. Usually, we classify our goals based on our needs. I need security, I need a roof, I need food. That's called artha. Then once you have enough, your pockets are filled, your bank accounts are, solid enough. You want to enjoy life. Enjoyments, pleasures. Is there any end to that? And we learn that it's not through pleasures that you will find peace, because all we want is to enjoy peace, inner peace. And no external means will give you that. Unfortunately, that's the hard reality. Nothing in the outside world will give you complete peace and the sense of fulfillment. You will have to come back to yourselves. Nobody teaches that in our lives, unfortunately. Everybody's like, hey, go outside, enjoy life. Little do we know we are being enjoyed by these laws. So we have to take control of ourselves. That's the reason why dharma comes first. Then artha, then security. And then pleasures. Knowing the truth, knowing the law. You won't fall for it. Dharma is first. First is the attitude, then artha and kama. Artha and kama are part of our lives. Who doesn't want to enjoy, and have a good time with friends, family, enjoy a nice sunset, go to the beach. It's beautiful. Sure, why not? But the first goal is to get hold of what is right. Control should come from within, never from outside. The control mechanism is inside and not from outside. No law and order is necessary for a person who has a commitment to grow into a life of dharma. What happens in our life is actually the opposite. We need lots of laws to control our actions. Otherwise, you know what it is. Prison, punishment. We still need that because there are people who are a little rebellious, rebel people don't want to follow dharma. But if we follow dharma, we don't need any law. We just do what we know is right. I'm joking, but we all pay our taxes, right? We know that's right. There will be a natural samanya dharma, these universal or common ethical duties, the moral principles that are applicable to everyone, regardless of our social status. This samanya dharma, this universal moral law, is very critical for human beings to live purposefully. To follow dharma, dharma protects you. Here we go. This is very important. If you follow this law will protect you. When you protect the law protects you. That angel that we all feel sometimes is with us, protecting us. That's the law. You love the law will love you. There is something that is called the actions that we have to perform according to our duties or our status or circumstances in life. It's called swakarma. And our swadharma, which comes with our actions or duties. Well, I have a kid. Well, you have to do what is right for the kid. As a mother, actions, and that's your swadharma. That is what is right for you. That's what you have to do. Nobody else can do it. Yeah, but it's on you. And when you do that, you follow dharma, the universal law. I'm telling you this because, it's in our lives all the time. Our lives is our field of yoga. That's the opportunity we have to practice these values. I have 5 minutes. I wanted to share with you a beautiful story with a very nice model. But I have 5 minutes. I don't know. Do I have time? Can I just take 5 more minutes? Do you know the story of the butcher? It's a very simple story for those who are in this path. Many of you read what is called the Karma Yoga by Swami Dhyanayogananda. There you will find this story. It's a beautiful story. There is this sannyasing. Do you know what sannyasing is? A monk. A young monk went to the forest. Old times, the monks retired, give up everything. And there he meditated, worshipped, and practiced yoga for a long time. After years of hard work and practice, he was one day sitting under a tree when some dry leaves fell upon his head. He looked up and saw a crow and a crane fighting on the top of the tree, which made him very angry. He said, "What? Dare you throw these leaves upon my head?" As with these words, he angrily glanced at them. A flash of fire went out of his head. Such was the yogi's power. That's what comes to you when you practice these austerities. And burned the birds into ashes. He was very glad, almost overjoyed at this development of power. He could burn the crow and the crane by a look. After a time, he had to go to town to beg for his food, his bread. He went, stood at the door, and said, "Mother," that's the tradition, "Mother, give me food." A voice came from inside the house, "Wait a little, my son." The young man thought, "You wretched woman, how dare you make me wait? You don't know my powers yet." While he was thinking thus, the voice came again, "Boy, don't be thinking too much of yourself. Here is neither crow nor crane." He was astonished. Still, he had to wait. At last the woman came, and he fell at her feet and said, "Mother, how did you know that?" She said, "My boy, I do not know your yoga or your practices. I am a common, everyday woman. I made you wait because my husband is ill, and I was nursing him. All my life, I have struggled to do my duty. When I was unmarried, I did my duty to my parents. Now that I am married, I do my duty to my husband, and that's all the yoga I practice. But by doing my duty, I have become illumined. Thus, I could read your thoughts and know what you had done in the forest. If you want to know something higher than this, go to the market of such town where you will find a Vyadha, the lowest caste of people in India, who used to live as hunters and butchers. He will tell you something that you will be very glad to learn." The sannyasi, the monk, thought, "Why should I go to that town and to a Vyadha?" But after what he had seen, his mind opened a little, so he went. When he came near the town, he found the market, and there he saw at a distance a big fat Vyadha cutting meat with big knives, talking and bargaining with different people. The young man said, "Lord, help me. Is this the man from whom I'm going to learn? He is the incarnation of a demon, if he is anything, he thought. In the meantime, this man looked up and said, "Oh, Swami, did that lady send you here?" There were no phones, smartphones back then. "Take a seat until I have done my business." The sannyasin thought, "What comes to me here?" He took his seat. The man went on with his work, and after he had finished, he took his money and said to the sannyasin, "Come, sir, come to my house." On reaching home, the Vyada gave him a seat, saying, "Wait here," and went into his house. He then washed his old father and mother, fed them, and did all he could to please them, after which he came to the sannyasin and said, "Now, sir, you have come here to see me. What can I do for you?" The sannyasin asked him a few questions about the soul, about God, and the Vyada gave him a lecture which forms a part of the Mahabharata. It's called the Vyada Gita. It contains one of the highest flights of the Vedanta. When the Vyada finished his teachings, the sannyasin felt astonished. He said, "Why are you in that body?" That's all we care, right? "With such knowledge of yours, why are you in a Vyada's body and do it such filthy, ugly work?" "My son," replied the Vyada, "no duty is ugly, no duty is impure. My birth placed me in these circumstances and environments. In my boyhood, I learned the trade. I am unattached, and I try to do my duty well. I try to do my duty as a householder, and I try to do all I can to make my father and mother happy. I neither know your yoga, nor have I become a sannyasin, nor did I go out of the world into the forest. Nevertheless, all that you have heard and seen has come to me through the unattached doing of my duty, which belongs to my position." Our lives is an opportunity to practice Dharma. And Dharma is the ultimate spiritual practice. As it said here, it can lead us to illumination. It's the source of peace that we all want. What is the moral? Well, the story emphasizes that one's station in life and the type of work one does are not determinants of one's worth, but the manner in which one performs one's duty, with or without attachment to results, with the right attitude. That is what is going to determine our worth, our sense of value, of self-value, self-worth. The attitude, the way we communicate, the manner in which we perform our actions based on our thoughts matter a lot. What is the moral law in the story? The end is coming. The moral law is fundamentally rooted in the law of love. The law of love is God's will, so known to us. Authentic love is the foundation of true morality. The true moral law lies in understanding oneself and God's will, which is His law. Thomas Merton says, "Love seeks one thing only, the good of the one loved. It leaves all the other secondary effects to take care of themselves. Love, therefore, is its own reward." Law is the fundamental law. Thank you.
power of sight to know what's wrong and what's right, that I may soar in flight to the one without a second, that one without a second. Brahman is whole, Brahman is one, all is Brahman, all under the sun. Brahman is whole, Brahman is one, all is Brahman, all under the sun. You give the power to speak, the rhythms moving our feet, the wind that moves our breathing. You are without and within, my mother, father, and friend, my dearest beloved, my dearest beloved. Brahman is whole, Brahman is one, all is Brahman, all under the sun. Brahman is whole, Brahman is one, all is Brahman, all under the sun. Purify my mind with your light, that I may know there's no night, only thy loving presence. Give me power of sight to know what's wrong and what's right, that I may soar in flight to that one without a second, that one without a second. Brahman is whole, Brahman is one, all is Brahman, all under the sun. Brahman is whole, Brahman is one, all is Brahman, all under the sun.
Beautiful. I have some announcements. Saturday, May the 3rd, there is a retreat, Upanishads for Daily Life. Beautiful topic. Sunday, May 4th, Crossover Fear by Pravrachika Anantaprana. I think she's from San Francisco, right? Both nuns. So it's a retreat. That's great. So plus snacks and lunch for free. And why not? May 17th is a little bit ahead, but there is a karma yoga. So this is an opportunity to come and join the nuns. And I don't think there is any. 17th, it says here. May 17th, Saturday, Karma Yoga Day at 9:15 a.m. to noon. Unselfish work, you guys. You can help our community here, and it feels good. Well, thank you so much. I will close with a chant. And if you have any questions after greeting you all, we can come back here and do a Q&A if you want. If you have questions or comments. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, that outer world is Purna, full of divine consciousness. This inner world is also Purna, full of divine consciousness. From Purna comes Purna, from the fullness of divine consciousness. The world is manifested. Taking Purna from Purna, Purna indeed remains. Because divine consciousness is non-dual and infinite. Om, peace, peace, peace into all. Thank you.